Hi, beautiful source connected beings out there. I decided to answer a question. Joia. I know it's not your true name, but that's how your name shows up in the comment I received a month ago. And Joia asked me if I could share more about the research I have done according my, is that the right English word? Well, about my asteroid chart, how I how I did that, the asteroid programming and etc. So I decided to answer that question and give some examples. And there's also a link below the video where you can download all three pages of all the houses and all my asteroids within the houses and the explanation I have placed with the asteroids. And but I will also show it in the video. So enjoy yourself, and I hope it can give you a starting point to do your own research of your own personal asteroid programming. Well, have fun. Much love from me to you. Well, here you see the sheet I created for the asteroid programming, and in a way that it makes, yeah, it brought clarity for me. So it's my way of understanding the deeper meaning of the asteroid programming. And what I did was I went through the programmings house by house and asteroid by asteroid, and I would just get an asteroid. Like in the first house you have nostalgia, and I would go to the main AI machine of Google. So I used Google because that's the number one when it comes to the AI. So that's the one to use when it goes when you want to go through the programming. So with nostalgia, I just what I did was the meaning of the name nostalgia. That was one, and if it doesn't bring up anything that resonates with you, you just try another. You try the meaning of nostalgia, or how do you call it? The definition of nostalgia. And when you do the definition of nostalgia, usually you have more names that are also similar to the definition of nostalgia, and then you just follow your source, knowing what resonates. Okay, that's the name you get, and you get that name, and once again you do the same thing, the definition or the meaning of, or the meaning of the name, of the word, just be playful. And of course, when you have names like, let me see if I have one here, Esther, my name, of course, birth name, or Niobe. Niobe I have in the 5th house, or Medea. With those names, you can search for it, the, how you call it, the story, the story of Medea, the story of Niobe. And then you get the story. And you just go through the story and just go where it leads you, and what resonates with you. And it reflects a part of your personality, you could say, or the things you have experienced during your life here. That's the essence you need to catch. and just copy paste it and place it in the sheet like I did here, you know. And while you do that, um, well, you don't know immediately what programs are balance influencers. I call them balance influencers, and what programs are disbalance influencers. So the disbalance influencers I have in the third column, they definitely, when they are magnetized, bring forth a lot of shit. So keep your eyes on that one, on those ones. So and the balance influencers, if those programs are being magnetized and are active, um, they also have their dark experiences, but within those programs, there are also great, wonderful gifts to collect once you've worked through the program and you demagnetized it, which we experience usually as a soul gift. But it's every program is connected to a soul fractal, so when the soul fractal you bring home, it seems like a new gift is being activated, but it's just the program, it's part of the program, because I see the things, my gifts, if you want to call it that, I can find them all here, in all the descriptions. So that's how I've done it. And I have the fourth column. It's about my personality, my living environment, the places I have lived, and relations, how I am programmed to respond in relations. Also, that's there are a lot of asteroids that talk about that, you know. And the last column, the fifth column, I have, it's like during the programs, when you go through the programs, you stumble upon, the past lives, the past ancestors, which we know as the incarnations. And so for me, it's a lot of, Greek. Greek mythology and the Greek goddesses, and a lot of Rome also, and yeah, So and the places where I have lived, also you will see it's about Greece, it's about Antwerp. You see in the fourth house of Virgo. I've been living in the Ardennes in Belgium. I've Belgium friends, and so in Antwerp, it's a town in Belgium, but the meaning of Antwerp, the program, if you go deeper into the program, I searched for the meaning of Antwerpen, the town Antwerp, and the history of the town Antwerp. And it talked about, you can see it in the fourth house of Virgo. You have Carol, and then you have Antwerp. It's a water navigating alchemist working from the center place of the five forked rivers. So that's just, it holds within all the things I've seen, experienced, during my journey. And I've seen myself in the center of five rivers, doing a water alchemy. So, so when I stumbled upon that, it was like, oh yeah, of course, And with Moira, also in the fourth house, she's a spinner weaver, goddess of destiny. I recently discovered that what I do is I rewrite endings, you could say. And so and synchronicity is also within the programming of the Maya. I'm red earth, I'm Kaban, and that's all about synchronicity. Everything unfolds through synchronicity. And so that's also that also matches uh, with this programming of the asteroids, you know, and decoding patterns. That's what I've been doing for such a long time. So the time traveling, the soul retrieval, that's all about Moira. Yeah, yeah. So you know, and let me see. Oh, that's also a wonderful. Even kijken. Let me see. Ryoma. Yeah, in the third house of Leo. It's communication, and Venus is there. Well, we know what Venus is, and the true Venus. So it's the house of study and communication. So I have Ryoma. It's a balancing influencer. That's how I experience Ryoma. And I searched for Ryoma, um, the name, the meaning of the name, and because otherwise there was nothing to be found. And when I came to the meaning of the name Ryoma, uh, it came down to the dragon and the guidance of the horse. And when I started to translate it, that's something I also do. I just get the English word, I translate it to Latin, and from Latin I translate it to Hebrew, and from Hebrew I translate it back to English, and then you get the navigator. So, and the white unicorn wormhole navigator, I've told you about it in videos before. I first saw him when I was 4 years old, when I was part of, well, you could say, energetic rape by reptilians. And yeah, that was the first time I met him. The white unicorn I called Snowflake. And later on, he came back when another reptilian experiment started, and that was in 2013. He was back, and I traveled with him. He showed me the way, you could say, um, while doing the time traveling, and but it was part of the experiment, you know. So yeah. So the white unicorn, whoa, snowflake, oh wow. Um, it's a reptilian in essence, So it's part of a reptilian program experiment, yeah. So, and you see in the first house, self and body, it's childhood character ascendant. I have the two black snakes. I have ice, yeah, how do you say it? Aesculapia. It's the healer bounded to several experimental medical contracts, yeah. And everything goes through the body with me, And literally two black snakes were coming up my feet after a black snake was brought into my body in 2013 by a reptilian shapeshifter. And but next to it, beneath it, I have nostalgia and transforming pain into love through remembering beauty and love. And that is how I got through it, just surrounding myself with beauty and singing, the childhood also in the first house connected to those medical contracts, experiments, so I was being very playful, very playful during that period, doing playful things and writing a children book, and painting a lot and going into nature and be playful with my dogs, and so singing children's songs, writing children's songs. So that was my way to balance it out, the medical experiment I was in. And that was because of Nessus, Nessus was in a certain position and it was being activated. And so those three together, in the first house, were very present from 2013 until 2022. Well, 2023, because I just finished the contract. So, and it was introduced by this beautiful, loving white unicorn. But, and the dragon, because a baby dragon was born also during that period. And the dragon also became my protector in a way. But it's, and you see it in the third house by Leo, study, communication, so it was Ryoma, magical powers of the dragon and the guidance of the horse. Yeah, but it's connected to Nessus. That is connected to Nessus in my case, because it showed up as a very loving dragon, and Aeona, and a very loving unicorn, snowflake. So yeah, so that's just, and then you see in the fourth column, let's go into the first house, you see, so that's the self, the body, the ascendant. It's my place of birth is Holland, and it means woodland, land covered with trees. And and I'm home in the forest. That's where I feel at my best. And water also. Holland is a lot of woodland with water. And in the north where I was born. So and it's connected to my home essence of Cassiopeia. It's also woodland with lots of water. You see how it's all connecting, but you have to find out for yourself, you know. And then you have the Greek god of medicine in the fourth column with the first house. And well, it started. I went to Greece when I was 20 or 90, 20 years old, yeah. And that was also a period when Nessus was active. I was raped in 1995 3 times. So that was in the year 1995, and that was, also connected to Nessus. And I had that home experience, of Cassiopeia in 1995 as this butterfly being above these huge flowers, and yeah. So to me, this all makes sense. And the singing, I was always singing. I love to sing. I always sing, to alchemize when things need alchemizing, energies need alchemizing. And you see it that it's in my, when I'm emotional, in periods when I was very emotional, I was very deep, very, going through emotions, especially during my period in Belgium. When I was so sick, you can see, there's Sirius in the second house, and there are the emotional waters, the whale and the dolphin family. So it was very much, yeah, I have the power through emotions, you could say, um, yeah, to harmonize, dangerous circumstances, curses, contracts, and experiments. And yeah, it's a way of alchemizing them. So there's a lot to say about that because there's a lot to read, If you want to read the other 2 sheets I created of the rest of the houses, you just follow the link below this video. Maybe it helps for you also to fully understand your asteroid programming. Yeah, and So just be playful, and I will get into Nessus a bit more, because what's connected to Nessus is Ryoma in the third house, the magical powers of the dragon and the guidance of the horse. And I will show you that when you start playing with the word Nessus, you go from English to Latin, Latin to Hebrew, and Hebrew back to English, I believe. I did it that way. Yeah. You will see that the horse will come up, the horse is there. So you could say the white unicorn represents Nessus. Yeah, at least for me. So yeah, and another one in the fifth house of Libra. The children, the creativity, the sexuality. You can see in the fourth column, the personality preferences of living environment, relationships. You can see Niobe and its deep emotional connection to all that is natural. Niobe is weeping for all the animals, nature, and children of the earth. And that was my deepest, hardest programming, to balance that. And that was, yeah, the medical experiments were also, not easy, but the weeping, the deep grief I felt for all the animals ever since I came to this place um, has been so. That was the hardest one for me personally. Yeah, yeah. But I managed also to demagnetize that one. Yeah. And then beneath Niobe in the fifth house, with sexuality also, you have Medea. It's a divine sorceress who lures man in. And that is something I did when I was growing up during puberty, from the age of 15 up until the age of 20. During those years, I was so angry with men. I hated men, and because of the things that happened when I was younger, and I just didn't trust them, and I just started seducing them. I lured them in, and that is exactly what I did. That's the program of Medea that was active during that period. You know, that is what I did, and I would use them, and just the next day I was like, well, fuck off, bye. So yeah, it's all here. Everything is all here, including in the fourth house, Nemesis. The Achilles heel. It's about being one or making someone the scapegoat. It's the illusion of having a named enemy, cause of problems in relationships. Now, yeah, in my case, it was my father. But the one who harms us is never the cause, of course. It's the magnetizing matrix program within. We can weave back to 0 point, where it loses its magnetizing powers. Yeah. Well, I hope you understand it now, how I have been working with those asteroid programs. Now, let me see what happened when I started being playful with some words, with Nessus, and I also, for you guys, started being playful with some other words. So let me go through that now, just a moment. Let's first go to Nessus. Well, the English word Nessus, I just split it up. Your source knows exactly what to do, how to work with words, work with, well, the language magic. You know, it's just word magic. So Nessus, and then it becomes, oh yeah, with Nessus I went straight to Hebrew, and from Hebrew I believe to Latin. Yeah. So yeah, from English to Hebrew, and there you have the Hebrew, and then I copy paste it, and then I go from Hebrew to English, back to English, and then you have miracles, thus, and then from English I go back to Hebrew, because Well, it's just you have to start playing with it, because why I knew I had to do it again with this translation and bring it back to Hebrew once again, and then from Hebrew copy paste to English again, and there you have it. The miracle horse, a horse miracle. Hi. It's so funny. It's so funny, yeah. And I did it with some other words, Lucifer. Lucifer. Let me see, Lucifer. Another word for Lucifer is, of course, morning star. But I decided to write it down as you speak it, morning. It's morning. So, morning star, and I just know I have to write it like this. Don't ask me why, but I just know. In my source, I need to do this, morning star. And then I translate it to Latin, and you get Lucien ink star. And then I copy paste it. Let me see. Then I copy paste it. I copy paste it, and to Hebrew, and then I copy paste Hebrew, and then back to English, and there you have the store of mourning. Well, yeah, grief and mourning, the store of grief and mourning. It's so funny. So I decided, to look what's the definition of mourning. So I looked up the definition of mourning, and it's the act of sorrowing. The act of sorrowing. Okay, let's translate that to Latin. Actus dolores, and then we just write it down how we know we need to write it down. Just trust your source within. So I just split it into 3 words, actus dolores. And then I translate it to Hebrew, copy paste, and then from Hebrew I translate it back to English. Heard us. Yeah, heard us. Yeah, so we give so it's like well, it's so be playful, be playful. Be playful with the words, yeah. And oh yeah, Jerusalem. I also did something with Jerusalem. Jerusalem, yeah, I translated it to Latin. You have Jerusalem. And then from Latin, I make a 3-letter word of it, Jerusalem, because I know I need to do it like this, And then I translate it to Hebrew again. And then from Hebrew back to English. And there we have Jerusalem, Russian law. Now that's surprising. Russian law. Yeah, it's so fun. And then let's do the last one I did for you guys. It's chaos. Chaos. Let's see what chaos brings us. You can also see, I just, I split the word. I always, just, it's magic. Just be playful with the words, chaos. And you can see here also it's shapeless mass. That's so funny. Because if you manage to come home into your source, where there's only peace, in your own center, well, in your source, you are shapeless mass, you could say. Well, shapeless consciousness. Yeah. So, yeah. But let's get on with this chaos, and then the translation to Latin, it's demonos. And then I decided to keep it the same and translate it to Hebrew, and then from Hebrew back to English. So chaos. Pay attention here. Yeah. So it's so funny. Pay attention here. And that's where I get when it comes to chaos. And did another one for you guys. Lucifer, no, that was all, I guess. Oh no, yeah. I also did another one, And that's the definition of chaos. The definition of chaos is confusion. So I did confusion, translated to Latin, is confusione. And then I wrote it down as confusione. And then translated back to Hebrew. And then it becomes fusion. Then it becomes fusion. Well, and then the definition of fusion. Fusion occurs when two atoms slam together to form a heavier atom. This is the same process that powers the sun and creates huge amounts of energy. So chaos is needed, in this game we are in, because otherwise they cannot collect the huge amount of energy they need from us. So it's all there. Just be playful with that. And another word, nessus, I already played with it, and when I translated it, it became the magical horse. Well, the magical horse is the unicorn, of course. So I decided to translate unicorn and from English to Latin, and it became unicornis. And I knew that I had to split it up in 4 words: unicornis, and to Hebrew, and from Hebrew to English, it meant no heart. So the unicorn that was guiding me, it was just a reptilian disguised as a unicorn with no heart. So, it's all there. Well, I hope it helps and it answers your questions, and have fun with it. And let me know if there are, more questions. You can go to the community part at my YouTube channel, and there you can place your question, and I will get into it when I feel I am ready to answer your question. Well, much love for now, from me to you.